radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio. For the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? How you doing? Today's Tuesday, August 11th, 2020. 224 days into the new year. Only 142 days left. We're live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south. Far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planets. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Tonight on this program, very special guest. It is Host to Host with Race Hobbs, the big man himself. Tomorrow night, Dr. Christopher Macklin joins us for the first time. We're going to be talking about the big ET conspiracy. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it a little of both? Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. All right. Giving you guys the update. Man, oh man, we are so happy with the H Factor. You want to go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel. It's getting ready to kick off, folks. I'm just giving you the heads up. Go and follow our Game Changer Network YouTube channel. It's the YouTube channel without any content. That's right. Yeah, click on notifications because the world premiere of the H Factor is getting really, really, really close. Oh, man, I'm just so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for all of you. And thank you to everybody that has subscribed to the channel already. And also, check this out. Carolyn Ford, EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Everybody wants their own crystal skull. You know, you can see mine here. And I've got lots of them from Carolyn Ford. Okay? Now, if you click on Carolyn's banner at jimmychurchradio.com right now and visit her Einstein website and just remember what is going on with Einstein and all of her crystal skulls. Okay, you can get everything that you want to know. All the information is there. Okay, but go over, visit the website, and now you can use the promo code Jimmy for 10% off of your crystal skull order today. How cool is that? Thank you, Carolyn. Oh, the Fadernauts love you. And so head straight over. There it is, promo code Jimmy. And the best crystal skulls, the most amazing stones, just go and click through and look at what she has. It's absolutely amazing. So there you go. Promo code is Jimmy. 10% off of your crystal skull order. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurch Radio. Follow me right there. Twitter is where it's at for me, man. I like Facebook. I like YouTube. I don't spend as much time over there as I should. But Twitter, yeah, Twitter is where it's at. Okay, anyway, follow me on Twitter. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black questions. You can also email Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Let's get straight to it. It's going to be a great show tonight. When Race is here, and he usually co-hosts with me when I have another guest on, and he'll ride in the background, and we'll bring him in for a few minutes. But after Race leaves the show, we get the request. You've got to do a full show with Race. What do you do? Come on, we need a full show. Well, tonight is the night. You asked for it. Race Hobbs all night long. It's going to be a great conversation. Stay right there. UFOs. UFOs all night tonight. All right. We might talk about some Midwest cooking and food too as well. That's what, I miss a lot of things about the Midwest. It's the food. Cracker Barrel. All right. Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com is the email. Breaking news. Well, okay. It's like this. I don't do politics on this show. Don't do it. Do the conspiracy of politics, but I don't do politics on this show. But just in case you haven't heard by now, the biggest news in the world today is that Joe Biden has picked Kamala Harris as his VP and running mate. I'll leave it right there. All right. Check this out. French authorities have opened a murder investigation after a 30-year-old corpse of a man was found in a basement during renovations of a Parisian mansion that just sold for about $41.2 million. The property, located in Paris' exclusive Central 7th District, comes complete with an interior courtyard and private gardens, and apparently a dead body in the basement. The mansion, and it's huge, it's ginormous. The mansion has been abandoned since the mid-18th century. Trip on that, huh? It's been abandoned for 200 years, 250, and a corpse shows up in the basement that's 30 years old. Go and figure that one out, right? Okay, this was also announced today. Russia has received orders from 20 countries for more than 1 billion doses of the world's first COVID-19 vaccine. Nations from Latin America, the Middle East, and Asia have requested doses of Russia's breakthrough coronavirus vaccine, which was confirmed to be registered today by Russian President Vladimir Putin. Putin said the vaccine is called Sputnik 5 and that Russia will produce 500 million doses per year, and it will be available January 1st. There you go. Nothing about anything mandatory. About 30 previously unknown stones with holes in them have been discovered at Karahunj, or Zorat's Karar, which is actually known as the Armenian Stonehenge. Now, these stones, which are vertical, they have holes in them, and it's round. It's like Stonehenge, and when you stand adjacent to another stone, you look through the hole, and then you look through the other hole, lines up. Astronomical alignment. Other stones of astronomical importance have also been found during the measurement works carried out jointly between the Bayerkyan Observatory and Armenian National University of Architecture and Construction. The team carried out computer and aerial photo scanning of the monument and the adjacent area. All stones with holes were photographed and measured. After the measurement results are summed up, astronomical calculations will begin based on the new, highly accurate data. Absolutely incredible. Now, a new study has shed more light on a gigantic terror crocodile that once roamed the earth and preyed on dinosaurs with teeth the size of bananas. The research, which was conducted back in 2018, published this week in the Journal of Vertebrate Paleontology, it found that the Dinosuchus, a lineage of giant lake crustaceous crocodilians from North America, were nearly as long as city buses and growing up to 33 feet in length. Holy crap. It is unknown what happened to the Dinosuchus and how they became extinct, because they disappeared before the main mass extinction at the end of the age of the dinosaurs. The size of a city bus. Teeth the size of bananas. What kind of description is that, right? You just start picturing that in your mind. The size of bananas. Incredible. These are different from crocodiles, though, and alligators, in that they had 2 extra holes on their snout, and they don't know what they were there for. Also, their mouths longer and wider than alligators or crocodiles. Yeah, crazy stuff. All right, Facebook said today that it removed 7 million posts in the second quarter for sharing false information about coronavirus, including content that promoted fake preventative measures and exaggerated cures. 7 million posts. Now, I was watching Twitter over the last week, and different big-time Twitter people out there upset that they lost thousands and thousands of Twitter followers, where Twitter went and did a major cleanup of bots and fake accounts. And yeah, they did. I lost. I don't normally check. Right? I'm not checking, but I happened to, and I told Rita about this. I happened to check my Twitter followers back to back, because I was heading over to Coast, and I announced, on Coast, my Twitter followers, and I like to see, what the bump is when I'm over on Coast, to see how much of the Coast audience comes over to Fade to Black, right? Okay, it's just a thing that I do, and I logged into Twitter. I lost 500 followers. I got them all back though. Since Coast. What's today, Tuesday? Coast was Saturday. So, but anyway, it was pretty freaky. Pretty freaky. All right. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Chris Hemsworth is 37 years old. Steve Wozniak today, 70. Eric Carmen, one of the all-time greats, today 71 years old, All By Myself. You're singing that song to yourself right now. All By Myself. Joe Jackson, today 66 years old, Stepping Out. Yeah, man, what a great song. Charlie Sexton today. Remember Charlie Sexton? Charlie Sexton today is 52 years old. On this day in history, 1973. American Graffiti, directed and co-written by George Lucas, opens in theaters across the United States. One of the great all-time films, right? Do you know what his next film was after American Graffiti? It was, wait for it, Star Wars. Went from American Graffiti to Star Wars. And if you think about it, American Graffiti, go back and watch it and think about the storyline. It's kind of Star Wars-ish. Yeah. Fact or fact, California is named after a fictitious island described in a series of 16th century Spanish romance novels. And the story of Queen Calafia. That's right. And that is your fact or fact. interject your own jokes right there. Go ahead. Go ahead. Light it up, Twitter. There it is. Fictitious. Oh, man. Tonight, very special guest, host to host with Race Hobbs. Tomorrow night, Dr. Christopher Macklin joins the show to talk about the big ET conspiracy. Are ETs positive on this earth, negative on this earth, or are they both? Think about that. That's tomorrow night. Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Now it's time for me to hit this River Moon coffee. rivermooncoffee.com. Jimmy, what was Joe Jackson's other big hit? Is she really going out with him? That's right. That's right. Don't mess with me when it comes to Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson was, man, he was cool. What was his album, the big album called? I can tell you right now. I'm not Googling. Do you see me Googling? I'm not Googling. Jumpin' Jive. Yep, I love Joe Jackson. He's cool. All right, our community. I love talking about our community. And you know, pretty much when I start a rant out each night, it starts out with our community. Well, our community talks a lot about underground bases. They do. Now, when I hear these stories about the locations of these facilities around the country from different researchers, I always ask them if they've ever seen the entrance to any of them. And the answer is always no. I know why, because they've never been to any of these bases and they've never gone out to go and research or try to find them. They're there. They're there. But nobody's ever seen an entrance. The crazy thing for me is this. I, Jimmy Church, lived on an underground base. Physically on my house was built on top of an underground base. That's right. And I saw the entrances too. Sure did. More on that in just a bit. And this is the facts. All of it is totally documented, and you can find whatever you like to confirm everything I'm about to tell you online. That's right. The funny thing is, at the time, I didn't really think too much about it. I didn't. First off, disguised. That's the first thing. Okay? I'll get to that in a bit. But, you see, in Panama, I lived on a base that was called Fort Amador. Amador. Look it up. That's all you got to do. Fort Amador was basically built from the rocks and gravel that were dug out to make the Panama Canal. The historical pictures of its construction are amazing. I'm telling you right now, just go look it up. Now, my front yard was a golf course. Now, I want you to picture this. Well, that's not entirely true. My front yard was a front yard, then there was a street, then there was another house. But behind that house, all the way to the Pacific Ocean, golf course. Okay, that was my view. I could literally, from my front yard, look out. If I stepped to the side of the house, it was across the street, Pacific Ocean. Big, flat golf course with a few palm trees. It's massive. It was cool. And from above, as you're walking around, that's what it looked like. Because it was a golf course. But it was a golf course built over a giant underground base. Uh-huh. And check this out. As a kid, and especially when I first moved there, I did a lot of exploring. I did a lot of walking around. And one of my favorite things to do, sometimes I did this with friends. I did this with friends a lot, but was to go out on the golf course at night because the stars above, it was insanity what you saw down there as far as stars go. There's nothing like it up here in North America. And I would just go outside and look up at the stars. But anyway, so I'd be walking around the golf course at night in the dark and lit up by the stars. But anyway, and I would walk by a frigging in the middle of this golf course. I'm talking about, hundreds of yards of just open golf course all the way around me. And then there would be a vent coming out of the ground, like a steel smokestack, one of those little cones on the top. I'm picturing maybe two. There would be two, and you could hear it. I was like, man, what's down there, right? And these tubes were all over the place. So during the day, and I didn't really think too much about it, but I would walk around during the day and I would look and I could see, out in the golf course, these air vents coming out of the ground. What the heck, right? Well, okay. From my driveway, turn right out of my driveway, 75 feet down to the end of the street where the stop sign is, was the first tee box. Tee box number one, hole number one, first tee box. But there was also there a gravel road or paved road that went down into this large V-shaped gully. It was man-made, and it was shaped like this on both sides, and these edges on the outside were probably 30 feet tall. All right, but anyway, so the tee box, you would tee over this ditch, man-made though, and I would walk down there, and what was fascinating was on the left side, if I'm walking south out to the Pacific Ocean, on the left side were these giant concrete, huge too, 20 feet tall steel doors with these concrete buttresses that came out, and there would always be a couple of cars parked there. I never saw anybody coming and going, and I would watch for this. I never saw anybody get in their car and drive away. Some were military vehicles, right? MP, military, police, or security. Some were just whatever, civilian cars, but parked outside of these entrances. And I would walk down and look, and there was, from what I remember, there was like 3 of these entrances that covered probably a half a mile of this ditch, all going underground underneath the golf course. I never got to look inside. I never, got a peek what was going on in there, what all the air vents were for, and how big and how massive it was. I don't know. Well, I know how big it was, but I don't know what was going on inside of there. Now, so that is where my house was built. It was unbelievable. Now, it gets better. Fort Amador, and you can look at all of this online, you can see where Fort Amador had a causeway that went out about 3 miles, and it's a road. Now, when you go and look at it, anyway, it went out and connected to 3 islands that were out at the end, and this road connected all 3. Those 3 islands were all man-made. All 3 of those islands they're big, you can see it online, were hollow. I would watch the cars and the staff drive to these islands all the time. The last island, the second island is the one that was active when I was there. That was sealed off, security, perimeter, and so forth. The last island, all the way out at the end of Fort Amador, that was one of the coolest places I had ever seen in my life. And it seemed that it was semi-active because I would see the security trucks parked outside of the gates, and sometimes they would pull through, and they would drive around to the backside. I never made it to the backside, but the main entrance, and you could see all of this online, walk through, and this was a bunker system that was absolutely incredible. High, huge doors, and we found all of these barrels of like nuclear war rations that were stacked up to the ceiling. But it was room after room after room after room, hallway, offices, doors. It's just everywhere, and we would walk through all of these. On the first island, where the beach was, to the right of the beach and the clubhouse there were these gates. And entrances, same thing, concrete, military style. And we managed to, as kids, and they had like jail doors on the front with steel bars. And we managed to get a car jack and open up the bars like this, and we could fit through. Couldn't do it today, but when you're 15 years old and 110 pounds, you could squeeze through these bars, and we did. And we went up, it was a long flight of stairs, stories tall, 3-4 stories of stairs that went up at an angle, concrete. Up to the top, hallways, and there was three levels, like floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, long hallways with offices on both sides. And on the backside of this, we found out there were missile and gun battery installations there to protect the Panama Canal. This is the entrance of the Panama Canal. And all of this is artificial. And what is interesting, and if you go today, those 3 islands now are tourist areas. They have marinas out there and yachts, and it's all cleaned up and fresh roads. When I lived there, it was all military. It was all a military installation. Panama's taken it over, and they've turned it into a civilian, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful resort. It was nothing like that when I lived there. But back to my house. You never know what, if I hadn't gone and wondered about what these tubes were sticking out of the ground in the middle of nowhere, I wouldn't have added up 2 and 2. Every day when I went to school, I walked past the first tee box to get on the bus, and I'm looking at those cars down there parked outside of these doors, these concrete bunker, huge too. I'm telling you, 20-foot tall doors. All of you can go online and check out Fort Amador and look at the historical pictures. I would love for all of you to find some stuff and post it up in Twitter and let me see it, and I'll make all the comments that you need. This is Fade to Black. That's the real underground base. I've seen the entrances. There you go. And it just popped into my head today. I was reading about underground bases. I was like, man, I lived on one. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, it is Host to Host with Race Hobbs. The big man himself is here. We will be talking UFOs all night long in an open-ended, long-form conversation. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I think Race is Race Hobbs on Twitter. I could be wrong. You can follow Race on Facebook, too, as well. He's right there, Race Hobbs. On the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with me. I'll be right back.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. GetTheTea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. The tea that makes you go.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Race Hobbs is here, host to host. Tomorrow night, Dr. Christopher Macklin. Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Race is the head of programming for KGRA Radio. He's been involved in the UFO community and research for over 30 years. During his career, he has interviewed just about every top UFO researcher in the field. And he has produced thousands of broadcasts from the top radio host in the country. I'd like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Race Hobbs. Racy.
Jimmy.
How you doing?
It's always a pleasure to be with you, my brother.
Man, when did you first get those pipes? Did you have those pipes when you were like 16?
No, goodness, no. No, I think it was after I crossed 300 pounds.
That's what did it? That's what did it?
That's when I got the barrel chest. That's when that happened.
Yeah, see, and then people go, man, have you ever thought about losing a little weight? And you're thinking to yourself, do I give up the pipes or do I give up the weight? I'm going with the pipes. I'm staying with the pipes.
You have the greatest voice in all of talk radio, and that's the truth.
Oh man, I tell the story all the time since we're on this subject. I always had this voice. I had it my entire life. When I was a kid, I was Froggy from Our Gang, right, or whatever his name was.
Yeah,
whatever his name was. So, and I hated it. And people would comment, "Man, you're loud. Man, your voice is boomy. You got to chill out." And I hated it. I wanted just a normal voice, and I didn't realize what I had. And I've never been able to control it. I can't. I realize people hear me speak in public, in a room, a dinner, or whatever, and I watch people wince. It's loud, man. It's loud, and I can't control it.
My friends do that on Xbox because I get excited. I get quite excited. That reminds me, if I may, I want to give a couple of shout outs real quick before we get rolling. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Glock 33. He's my partner in crime on Xbox on our Sea of Thieves game. He's a big fan, and I wanted to give him a shout out, as well as everybody, Jimmy, over at Bill Skywatcher's Skywatch page, because they're all listening to us. He's actually piping Jimmy through KGRA Radio to all of his Skywatcher friends and team over there, watching the meteor shower over there on his video channel. So he wanted me to, he wanted me to let you know he was running this. So they're all listening to us over there as well. So and I want to say hi to all of the Fader knots, of course.
Yeah, right on. Did I hear you say Sea of Thieves?
Sea of Thieves, yeah.
Yeah. That's the pirate game, right?
It is. It absolutely is.
So
Yeah.
you play Sea of Thieves.
I try. Glock is actually, he's the real legend. He's the pirate legend, and I'm just aspiring to be. But I've been playing the game for a little over 3 weeks now, and I just love it.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool game. Game. And let me know how you do with that. Let me know how you do.
I will, Jimmy. We'll have to get together sometime and set sail.
Yeah, I wish there was a way. I looked into it. I like to play. Rita and I, we're supposed to be talking about UFOs, Race. Rita and I we're big gamers. I've never hidden that. I love video games and
why would you? The whole thing came from our generation.
I know. And Rita
for all this shit.
Let me tell you, Rita is out of control when it comes to video games, man. I see what she does with weapons and swords and things, and she wants bigger, faster, better, and the best of and armor and all. Man, if we had a gun closet at the house and we had an intruder, they'd be done. I'm just telling you right now. I would just step back. I wouldn't have to do anything.
Is that a girl, Rita?
Man, I'm telling you right now, man. I'll get my popcorn. I'll just watch that go down. Rita does not play around with video games.
That is so awesome.
Oh man, she is intense. We love it, and Sea of Thieves looks really good. But we play together. Rita and I play together on the same screen. So
okay,
that's the thing with Thieves is I don't think you can do the couch version of that where you can import another player and both of you can be on the same boat. Yeah, I'm
not sure. I know you can play. You can play on, like my man Glock. He plays on a stone cold solid computer. He built his own gaming computer, and it's like lightning fast. And so it's one of those crossover games that works with computer games and Xbox. So it's super cool. So there may be a way you guys might be able to do that.
All right. I'll look into it. I will. I'll look into it because it's people love the game and it looks really fun.
It is. It is. I just gave it a shot on Game Pass and I've been addicted to it ever since.
Yep. Go and get your boat and head out to the open seas. And are you getting good at getting the planks of wood and going down and nailing them as you're getting?
But dude, look, you gotta have a job. and I'm the patcher bailer.
The patcher bailer.
Patch the holes and bail the water. That's what I do right now.
Yeah,
I gotta work my way up.
That would have been my job on a pirate ship. I wouldn't have been, something cool. I'd be the patcher and bailer.
I've got to be honest with you, Jimmy. What a rough life. But I mean, that was probably the last time you were totally free, really free.
Well, I was talking about Panama in my opening rant, and I lived on top of this underground base called Fort Amador. It's pretty cool. And as a kid, going around there and exploring the underground facilities and things, and managing to break into some of them and going through, it was so much fun as a kid. I mean, it was a real underground base, real bunkers, real this, real that.
Yeah.
But open, we could go and explore it. Just imagine, because most kids, you imagine that it's a fort. You imagine it's an underground bunker. You do this in the woods. We did it for real. I mean, for real. It was totally cool. But anyway, one of the things that I was able to learn and do down there was to sail. And I did, and I sailed a lot. And there is nothing like boating with a motor. Okay, all right. There's, I get it.
Get you out there. Yeah.
Sailing is a whole nother thing, where you hear nothing but the wind on the sails. You hear the water hitting the boat, but it's dead silent. And that's a whole nother appreciation. Talking about being out there and being free, that's what sailing is, and it is totally cool. I got a little taste of it, man. Little taste.
Yeah, you got to have your stuff together. Sort of like Murillo and those hang gliders. You don't want to go into it, halfway. You got to have everything together. Once you get out there and you lose sight of land, oh my gosh, could you imagine that?
No. As a matter of fact, there's two different kinds of sailing, and you bring up a really good point. All right? There's sailing where you sail over the horizon and you're no longer looking at land. That's crazy town. Okay, now you have to know how to navigate. You got to know the stars. You've got to have your navigation equipment. You've got to be on top of your game, or you're going to die. It's really that simple. The other type of sailing is you navigate by the land, right? You keep the land in view. You can be 5 miles away. You can be 6 miles away, but you don't sail in the other direction. You know what I mean? You just hug. Right. And you can go from Alaska all the way down to Cape Horn in South America just by navigating the shoreline. Right. You don't have to lose sight of the shore. You lose sight of the shore and it's Gilligan's Island. That's what you don't want.
That's no joke. I remember, look, you can also get on a boat that looks very sizable. It looks very, very sizable on the dock. But once you get out there in the water and you can't see land, you become very small, very, very fast.
That's right.
And it's really it'll take you. I remember blue marlin fishing in Costa Rica, man, when back about 20 years ago. And when I looked back and I said, hey, where's the ground? Where's the land? The land was gone. And these swells that come in are huge. You literally could have another boat 100 feet away from you, and you wouldn't even see it. You go down these valleys, up on these big hills. And, but like you said, it's the quietness. It's the silence of the sails, the wind in the sails and the water and the waves. No phones, no computers, none of that. It's just you and the water and the wind and the stars. And that, to me, I think that would probably be a great example of true freedom.
And also you get the surprises out there. This is actually kind of a weird UFO segue, because once you get away from civilization, your attention now, you're focused on the little things, because something little is actually a big event.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Does that make sense?
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Yeah. And hold on for a second. Does that help everybody? Oh, man, my camera switcher didn't go active during the commercial break. So everybody was looking at the Fade to Black logo, and it was supposed to be automated, but it didn't do it. I can't do everything, folks, here. I'm not Steven Spielberg. So, but it's the little things. And when you're out there, you may be able to catch something coming out of the water, a USO. Or you've got the open night sky because the stars, you have zero light pollution, right? And now you are exposed to everything. I've often wondered when you are out in the open sea race and you look, how do I explain this? When you look at the ocean, when you're out there and you look down, that's when you realize how insignificant you are as a human being. Because the ocean is deep and big and it's endless in all directions, and you just wonder what is down there. And there's a lot of stuff down there, and there's a lot of stuff that humans have never seen ever, right? Down there. But what could be lurking?
That's when I would just lose my skin. I'm telling you, I would just be a nervous wreck.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell one sea story. Okay. And then we're going to move on to the UFO.
Let's go.
Okay. My dad and I are out on, actually, no, let me correct this. I was going to say our boat. We weren't on our sailboat. We were on our neighbor's sailboat. Okay. We had a yacht club there called the Balboa Yacht Club. Our neighbor it was about 30 feet, 25, 30-foot sailboat, pretty good size, decent size. And we're out sailing, and it's my dad, our neighbor, Sergeant whatever, Sergeant Bilko, and myself. I am on the wheel. I'm driving. I'm steering. My dad is in the front on the bow, sitting inside of the jib, the sail, the front sail. And he's looking to my right towards land, towards Panama. Out to our left is the Pacific Ocean, and the next stop is Hawaii. Okay, that's what's out in that direction. Wide open. The guy that owned the boat, our neighbor, he's down below, and I can see him. He's like getting beer out of a refrigerator or chips or sandwiches, but I can see him below in the galley. I'm steering. And at that moment, as I'm looking at my dad and I'm looking at our neighbor downstairs, down below deck, off to my left, which is port. You got to have sailing terms, right? There's port and starboard. Off to a port side to the left, this giant, and when I say giant, I'm going to guess and say 30 feet, bigger than the boat we're on, 30 feet across, manta ray comes out of the water towards us, just catches the wind, and it's probably a quarter mile of away, too close. Okay? Close. And just comes out just like Jaws, man. And catches the wind, and it's up probably 10, 15 feet in the air above the ocean, kind of flaps its wings a little bit, and I'm looking straight down its mouth, and its mouth could swallow a Pinto. It's that big, and I could see the ribs on the inside of its body. It's red, and I'm like, oh my God. And I see, and then he just crashes back down into the water. It lasted about 3 seconds. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't yell for my dad. It's already gone, right? I can't yell below. It's already came out, and I was the most terrified person on the water for the rest of the day. And what it told me was that you never know what is down below. You don't know. And this thing was huge. And if he would have come out and hit our boat and didn't know we were there, yeah, it was that big. It was huge. It was huge. It was huge. Huge.
I worry about that with those gray whales, and just they come up in the bay, and real close to traffic, to like private traffic. And one of them son of guns come wailing up out of the water. Well, you see it on videos all the time, how close they come to boats. I don't,
Yeah.
That's too scary, man. It's deep out there. It's dark, and there's large stuff below you.
Yep, I've seen everything out there down in Panama, sharks and whatever, just massive things, and you just learn to respect the water. That's it. What about since we're getting close to a break, the TV series The Ozarks? How close is that to you?
About 20 minutes.
Oh, it's that close.
Yeah. I'm right at where I live is at the foothills of the Ozarks and at the foothills of the Ouachitas. We're in the valley that divides those two national forests and those two locations. And Ozark, the actual place, is about 20 minutes from here.
Now, the way that the residents and the people are portrayed in this series, is it close or is that just exaggeration?
It's Hollywood. That's the wood.
So, so you're saying the actors are acting?
No. What they're just being real.
Really?
Of course they're acting, Jimmy. You live out there with them. I mean, I'm sure there are those that are very close to, those kinds of characters. But yeah, I mean, it's.
Now, this is what I read. And since you're 20 minutes away, you've got to know the local lore. What I read is it's based on a real story, a real club, and a real, boat docking, restaurant that is on the lake, and it's this guy's adventures over a couple of summers that he wrote the books about. And it's based on the real thing. Have you been to that club?
No, I've never been to that club, but I've been to that muddy ass lake.
and
it is not. It is no. Trust me, it's no paradise. I have been. It's a dammed up river, is what it is.
Right.
That they made a lake out of, and it's just not it's never been one of my favorite places. Now Arkansas has so many clear water. There's still creeks and rivers here you can touch your lips to and drink the water right out of them.
Right.
Natural springs, and lakes as well. But this is not one of them. But But yeah, there are some, it's not a bad place. It's not one of my top 10.
So Rita says to me, she goes, we watched all 3 seasons of Ozark and loved it, man. It's just a great series. Have you watched it?
I've seen some episodes, but I haven't you know what? I'm going to tell Robin, I'm going to put it right now that Bird and I are going to binge watch Ozark.
Yeah, you need to, because
I've heard you say that before.
No, it's great. No, it's top notch. It is, as far as television programming goes, especially right now in the last 5 years. It's got to be top 5, if not top 3 of anything that's on television. It's really good.
The writing is good. I liked it. I mean, I just don't have the time, when I'm video gaming and working.
So anyway, Rita has said every season, right? We're sitting there watching it. Race is in Arkansas, right? Is this what it's really like? I said, hey, we got to ask Race.
Have you seen the movie Arkansas?
No, I heard. Okay, no. Is that any good?
Vince Vaughn? It's pretty good. It wasn't bad.
Okay. Well, you know why I didn't watch it? Vince Vaughn. That's that's why I didn't watch it.
Vegas, baby.
Yeah, Vince hasn't done. Okay, he's hot or cold.
Yeah.
All right, he's hot or cold. When Vince is on his game, when he's doing Vince Vaughn, right? That
fingers,
man, top. He was really good in True Detective. That was a really good season for him. He played some good Vince Vaughn there. But then the other stuff, and especially when he's trying to be funny,
he plays really good bad guy in this
really
movie.
Good bad guy. All right, so that's worth it then, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I thought so. It was definitely a departure from the norm for him.
Well, we just decided to watch Good Omens a second time. And so we're in the middle of that. And I forgot how good of a series that was. And the first 2 episodes just reminded me how good that was. We just finished the Umbrella Academy. To be honest with you, Rita and I have come to the end of television programming. We've watched everything that man has produced since the beginning.
The sad thing is that there's nothing being made now.
That's it.
You know.
That's it. We have run to the end. We're at the end. We're going back to watch Good Omens again because we're out. There's nothing new to watch right now. We just
start over Game of Thrones, I guess.
Yeah, I know. We contemplated a few different things. I tell you what, I'm now into I do this in my spare time. I'm into halfway through season 3 of the original Star Trek.
Yep. Oh, the original Star Trek.
Yep. I did it, man. I did it back to back to back. And did season 1 and season 2. I'm halfway through season 3 right now. So that's where I'm at, man. I've tapped out. We are at the end of the internet, man. We got.
You can go back to some of these series that I went back to Boston Legal, and I started watching some of season 1, 2, and 3 of Boston Legal.
We watched, we
crazy how a lot of that stuff they made back then is like they made it for today too.
Yeah. Boston Legal was great. And we watched that when it was on regular TV. We went back. We did all of Twin Peaks, all of the original. We went back. We got about 4 years into the X-Files, right? Seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Always.
Yeah, but going back and watching that stuff. Okay, let's take our break right here, Race. When we come back, folks, I promise we're going to get to the UFO, all of it. Our guest tonight, Race Hobbs, host to host. It's going to be a great open-ended conversation. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. My co-host, Race Hobbs. We will be right back after this short break on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Introducing Introducing the new Surfer Music app. Listen, Fade or not, you know I love my music. This is my go-to for all things notes. The Surfer app is a brand new concept in music listening. Surfer is free, providing unlimited access to thousands of live streaming radio stations. Surfer is an exciting, interactive listening experience. Discovery and surprise are built right in. Surfer is your destination to discover and rediscover great live streaming music. It features high-quality audio streams, free access to music from thousands of live streaming radio stations, unlimited listening, unlimited skipping. You get a music visualizer, and you can also select your favorite channels. Get it at the Apple App Store or Google Play. Just search Surfer Music or click on the Surfer banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Go Beckley Teppy. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Race Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We're also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, host to host, Race Hobbs is here. I promised all UFOs all night long. We're going to get to that. Tomorrow night, Dr. Christopher Macklin joins us. We're talking about the big ET conspiracy going down right now on this planet. Are the ETs positive that are here? Are they negative? Or is it a little bit of both? Well, we'll find out tomorrow night. Thursday night, of course, is Fader night with open lines all night long. Now, Race, when I say that you've been doing this for over 30 years, you've worked with MUFON, you produced literally thousands of broadcasts from the top radio host in this country. You've interviewed just about every researcher in the field. Is this UFO heaven right now? Is this ET heaven? Is this what you've been waiting for this last couple of years?
No. I gotta, I've had conversations with some very close friends in the field, and I don't want to be, now, first of all, just bear with me. I don't want to be Debbie Downer here. But I was, when I go back, if I may, when I go back to some of my mentors You've heard me speak of them. Many of your listeners have heard me speak of figures like Bill Pitts. This guy was a guy that was well into he was into his late 70s when I first met him, when we became friends and I befriended Bill. This is a former Army Air Corps. He was flying planes in the U.S. military before there was an Air Force. And he, was involved with those heavy hitters from back in the day, and was probably there, the Mantell days, back in the very beginning. He was one of those guys who, had been involved with the United States government, with the formation of the Air Force when it was formed, with the CIA and the formation of it, and the intelligence branches and committees that all kind of sprang up back in the day in the Second World War and then post-World War. And, this guy was one of those players that were, he was, for all intents and purposes, one of those figures that was a real icon on the chessboard. This guy was not, some little player. He was there, even back when, let's say, like when Carter was having his scientific advisors, come together with a UFO team to come brief them on UFOs and, that sort of thing. He was a part of that. David Marler has all of his stuff in his museum in New Mexico, and I've held every piece of it that's in that museum. This guy literally had a state police badge that had UFO on it, because when he went to, state police and military and police officers, they reported this stuff to him when it came in, and he went with them to the locations and take these reports and that kind of thing. He was there when MUFON assimilated the APRO and all these other groups. He was there when MUFON went civilian, and he was very much against it. But my point is, I think where I'm trying to go with this is, this guy that mentored me told me back then, when I was probably a little more than 10 years into my UFO hobby, and my UFO active interest, that don't expect the answers to be right around the corner, because if you do, you're going to be let down. If you expect the answers to be here before your lifetime, you may be let down. And I think that I've gotten to that point. In 30 years, I have walked away from the UFO community for a short period of time 3 times, Jimmy. Three times. And in those 3 times, I got away for sometimes a couple of weeks to a month, and then I was right back, sometimes 3 or 4 months. It took time for me to sort of step back and cleanse myself and reevaluate where I was and sort of reorient myself and get my bearings again. Because these holes could go quite dark and quite deep. And, you have to really pick one aspect of this phenomenon and kind of stick with that and specialize with that. The crop circles, there's implants, there's abductions, there's so much to just the UFO letters. And so I just decided to stick with the reports. That's when I found myself going in the MUFON direction and that kind of thing. But now where we are today, and it's a really good question, is there have been a series of sort of health issues that have come upon me that have sort of reminded me of my mortality. And with that, I certainly have sort of had to reevaluate a lot of things. And with that, one of those things is, damn it, I want the truth to come out for everyone before my time is over here on this journey. And I don't feel like it's going to happen, before I go. Because really, I was asked the other day, Jimmy, what the most significant thing about ufology has been in the last, year or two. And for me, the biggest story to hit ufology has been the passing of Stanton Friedman. And a lot of people are shocked, have been shocked when I say that to them. But we lost a giant in this subject. And a lot of people have mourned him, and a lot of people have, they've gone on to, continue their work, and, and it's sort of like he's just been forgotten. And it's been over a year now, and he's been gone. And it just, I think about that man all the time. And I think about the magnificent contributions that Stanton Friedman has given us and how he represented us all so very well. And I was one of the people fortunate enough to do an on-camera interview with him just before he went. And maybe the last one, I'm not sure, but could very well be. And I never did release it, honestly, because I started to edit it because in that interview, he lost his train of thought several times, and he had to kind of reorient himself and get back on point. And a lot of times I just went on to the next question. So I didn't want to release it without editing, because I didn't want some of the last video about Stanton to go out and have these, these mistakes in it that he normally never made.
Right.
And I just, I've been thinking a lot about my own mortality with the loss of him and me. And I just would caution everybody, because the big thing now is the government. The big thing now is unidentified and to the stars and ATIP and all this crap. And I've just been a super big, black eye for everybody who's all hyped about this, that really thinks the government's going to tell us anything close to the truth. If anything, what we're getting now, in my opinion, Jimmy, is we're getting some butter on the bread. We're getting some sugar on the donut. They're trying to grease us to make the truth, when it does come out, if it ever does come out, it's there to make them not look so bad if it does come out. But they're not going to tell it if they do, I don't think.
Why, it's always been, back to your point, it has always been about what the government knows. Yes. Today, the UFO community and those that are new to the subject, they're here in the last few years or 5 years, and don't know about or have respect for the past, because it's always been, since day one, the community against the man. It's always been that fight. It's always been there. And this is nothing new. So for us in the UFO community, where we are so used to trying to pry stuff out of the man, or facing the ridicule and the embarrassment because of the way that they want to portray the UFO community, it's always been this battle. So what's going on today certainly is nothing new. And when you say these things, it's because of the past. It's not necessarily about what's going on today. It's that we've been through this before, haven't we?
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Think of the conversations you and I have had with our old friend, Jim Mars.
That's right.
Ruled by Secrecy was one of the greatest books ever written about just how the government suppresses the truth and what lengths they're willing to go to do it. And I saw a lot of people in the chat room here. I noticed that, rest in peace, Jim. Absolutely.
That's right.
Another great one. But at the time that I got involved in all of this, I sort of came to the realization that, the UFO investigators that are out there handing their business cards out to everybody that they do investigations with, you always give a few extra, pass them out to your friends, that kind of thing, because, you don't want them to report it to the authorities these days. You want them to report it to you, because if the farmer finds something in his field that some noise night before, he goes out there and finds something in his field, you don't want him to call the Air Force. You want him to call you. And when that happens, you're sort of putting yourself between that object in the dirt and a 1,000-pound gorilla. and how is that going to fit? How is that going to end up? So a lot of people that get involved, they don't really know what the government's going to do. They don't really know what they have done before, and they don't really know sort of where they're putting themselves. And it's just a double-edged sword. It really can be very, very bone-rattling to kind of think about what they're willing to do to cover up this truth. We do know that it's true. We know physical objects, Jimmy, are coming and going and out of our atmosphere, and there's nothing we can do to change that. Empirical, admissible evidence is in our hands of objects coming and going of physical nature, intelligently controlled, and we know that for a fact. So we know the truth, that it's not some drone that we've had, and it's not even, because all of that has sort of clouded the landscape these days. We know that technology exists that is very, very impressive. But you go back 45 years and it wasn't so impressive in the public sphere. It wasn't so impressive what we saw with our own eyes. When they rolled that big stealth bomber out on the tarmac in Palmdale, California, we were all just big chested, about, wow, the United States has got this big black machine that can go anywhere on earth undetected and protect us. But if they're willing to show us that back then, we can only imagine that what Ben Rich said was real. We can only imagine the words that slip from some of these officials and former officials is real, just like with Harry Reid. And the whole New York Times sort of walking back this conversation, that took place between these reporters, Leslie Kane, and it's just one of these after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. And I guess I feel a bit like a dog chasing his tail after 30 years in this.
Yeah, it's like, here we go again. But okay, there's another way for us that have been doing this for a long time. There's another way for us to look at it, and the reason why we are questioning what is actually going on here, and that is this: the Air Force, the military, the Pentagon, and the CIA have always had an interest in infiltrating the UFO community, spreading disinformation, having people on their payroll, and controlling the narrative, and that was something that we were always aware of. And I'm not going to bring up names or the past, but it was something that was always there. It was tangible. It wasn't intangible, right? And today, when we look at TTSA, an organization that is completely staffed with CIA, ex-CIA, counterintelligence professionals, then for us in the UFO community that have been through this before, we step back and go, wait a minute here. Okay, this may be good and it may be not, but we're not going to put our trust in this right away. There's got to be some time that elapses here. Those that are new to the UFO game today, they don't get it, and they don't see any issues with it. For you, is this every red flag that you can throw up? Is this what is going down right now?
I hate it. And I really shouldn't say I hate anything, but I do this. It's just it's hard to rain on any parade, right, Jimmy? It's difficult. And there are a lot of talented young guns, and that's sort of a term taken from Chase and John Burroughs and several other people that they use that term to describe these younger generation that's coming up, and they're so bright and they're so talented, and they're looking at this horizon, this UFO UAP landscape out in front of them, and and they've got high hopes that they're going to be the generation that uncovers this truth. And I don't want to, for 1 second, sort of hold them back. But if at the time, I talk with them and I tell them some of these things about what I've uncovered, what I've learned, what I've heard on the air, what I've heard more importantly off the air, it can be disheartening to them. It can be tough for them to swallow, and a lot of them, some of them walk away and say, "Oh, he's just grumpy and he's just mad," and because what he tried didn't work or whatever. And then some of them walk away and say, this guy's got his stuff together, and we need to listen to his advice. And for those, I would say, take my advice. Don't follow it. Just take it and use it when you can. Because honestly, I want everyone to come to their own conclusions. And I don't want to presume to know anything or be an expert on anything other than, being a radio producer. I'm pretty expert at that.
Yeah. The appearance, it seems, looking from the outside, it seems that the narrative wants to be controlled, that nobody else matters and their opinions don't matter. And for me, Race, this is, I can live without TTSA. Right now, TTSA goes away. It doesn't change me. It doesn't even change this community. The things that I have seen are the reasons why I am here. I've seen things that I cannot explain. And yes, you've chosen to walk away from the UFO community a few times. If I walked away and I was done, I'm still left with my own experiences and those questions about what I have seen. And none of it has anything to do with TTSA. It's got nothing to do with it. And that's what's most important. And that's what keeps the UFO community together. It's what they've seen, their experiences, and what has drawn them into the community. They're not here because TTSA came on the scene. And that's what we cannot lose sight of.
That's true. That's true. And, I didn't mean to digress from your previous question, but I mean, for me, they are really, you're either super pro or super against. And I'm one of those guys who appreciates some of the stuff that's going on that way, but I don't trust any of it. I just don't. And you're exactly right. There's enough out there in the UFO landscape for everybody to find something to chew on, and it tastes good to them. There's a little something, I think, for everybody, and most people are involved in all of this because of what you said, not because of To the Stars.
No, they're not here because of 3 videos. And this is the point that I constantly have to remind everybody of. When it comes to TTSA and the staff that is over there, from Jim Semivan on down, is that my fingers remain crossed. I'm hopeful. You never know. Maybe something huge is going to break. We have to wait until 2021, but maybe there's something out there. Maybe something will come of it. My fingers are crossed. Do I think something is going to come of it? No, I don't. And I think that is very unfortunate because so many people have vested emotions into TTSA and the Navy and the pilots and the videos and the Senate and Marco Rubio and the New York Times and they feel that finally these days are in front of us where disclosure is here. I don't feel it. I'm hopeful, and you're right. We can't discount anything that anybody's doing. Can't do that. That's the wrong way to approach this. But in my heart of hearts, I just feel like this is us getting played again. And that's my take.
I think it's a good take. But always remember, there are those little gems of truth involved in all of the BS that they push. And, let's just keep a sharp eye out for things that make common sense. Because I honestly think that wrapping a human mind around something that is absolutely not human is going to be difficult for them and us. So with that said, they've got about a 70-year head start on us, maybe some. So, I think there's going to be no choice but for the truth to come out eventually. I don't think they're going to be able to hold it in for 100. I just don't think so. I got to remain hopeful that that these things are fallible, just like everything we make is, and that one day, God forbid that one of them gets hurt, its occupants get hurt, but one of those things crashes or lands somewhere where they can't cover it up anymore. And when that happens, then we're home free.
And we'll continue this conversation when we come back after the break, because that's a very important point. Tonight it's Host to Host with Race Hobbs. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Come join us for the StarWorks UFOs and Artificial Intelligence Conference, November 6th through the 8th at the Aquarius Resort in Laughlin, Nevada. A full weekend of events with Grant Cameron, James Fox, Alan Stivelman, Sid Goldberg, Jaime Maussan, Lynn Katai, Paul Hynek, and another dozen great speakers and presenters. Special Fade to Black Sky Watches with Hoffman's Optics on Thursday and Friday nights, movie premieres, a cocktail party, a dinner gala. Get your discount ticket packages today at StarWorksUSA.com. I'll be there along with the entire Fade to Black crew. Start planning your weekend now for the StarWorks UFOs and Artificial Intelligence Conference, November 6th through the 8th at the Aquarius Resort in Laughlin, Nevada. Just visit StarWorksUSA.com. Go Beckley Tepe.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Permanent industrial glue impossible to remove? Not anymore, because Handyman Formula by D-Bond is a patented chemical adhesive remover. It's used in the building and home maintenance industry, but now it's available for your home use, for your DIY projects. Unglue stickers, silicone rubber, labels, price tags, flex tape, weather stripping, carpet glue, wood glue, liquid nails, even 3M 5200. And it dissolves graffiti. Yeah, graffiti. Handyman Formula by D-Bond works, and it's safe to use on most surfaces. No need to call a professional. Don't get out the pliers and blowtorch. Just apply a little Handyman Formula by D-Bond and wait 90 seconds, then quickly and easily pull the items apart. Get unstuck. Visit DBondHandymanFormula.com. That's Dbond.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
Including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Race Hobbs, host to host. Tomorrow night, Dr. Christopher Macklin joins us for the first time. Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. But tonight, it's all about Race Hobbs. And Race, you bring up one of the best points about all of this. I want to continue that when it happens, I don't want to say if it happens because it's going to be a when the cat gets out of the bag, it's going to be out of the government's control, isn't it?
Oh, of course it is. It's absolutely going to be out of their hands, out of their control when it does happen. It's. I think it's got to be one of those things where, it's going to be something that's going to be totally unbelievable to the public at first, and they're going to do whatever they can to shut the narrative, to control the narrative and shut the truth down, I think. Making it something like sort of the Kecksburg incident. And they've done these things before, and they're quite good at it. And I think in a lot of cases, in a lot of ways, these truths have been exposed already. And then in the future, I don't think that it's going to be so easy for them to sort of cover up.
Do you think it's going to be, if you were going to speculate, because we've got all of this stuff that has been brought out in the last couple of years, it's actually 3 years. We're going into year 4. Right. It's hard for me to wrap my head around December 17th, 2017. We're coming up on the 3-year anniversary, going into year 4. And we're still sitting on the same material from 2017. But that being said, do you think it's going to be something from the internet? Some kind of document download, some kind of white hat, anonymous hacking, and we're going to get exposure and disclosure that way? or is it going to come from the heavens? Is it going to be something in the skies? If you were going to be a betting man in Vegas, where would you go with that?
I think it's going to have to be something physical, and it's going to have to be something in front of all of us. It's sort of like the Bigfoot mystery. It's going to take a Bigfoot body, cadaver, living or not, before we have any bearing on what this thing is, if it is. And I think the same is going to be for the subject of alien visitation. We know aliens exist, intelligent life exists in the universe. It's a mathematical certainty.
That's right.
There's just no way it can't be. We just don't quite understand if they're here or not, or we don't have the proof whether or not they're here or not. And they very well could be from this solar system as well, or they could be from the Earth a long time ago, and there's just a handful of them that are still around. It could be what Marzulli thinks. L.A. Marzulli believes that these things are fallen angels and that they were banished to the Earth and that they've been here, meddling, so to speak. They could be interdimensional. It could be any number of things. And there are so many books out there and so many researchers and investigators out there that are on top of all of it, and books well-written books that sort of are very compelling and can inspire us to take that turn down that road and go see what's down there. But for me, I think it's literally going to take something physical, something that science can put its hands on, Well, you went through, you went through MJ-12, the document dump, right? You went through that. I went through that. When that was going down, and I read every page of everything probably 50 times or more, right? Just pouring over, and what a huge thing that was. And that was a big deal, man. That was a big deal. Turned bigger
out,
than all of this. Yeah. Way bigger than all of this right now going on.
That's right. And looking back, lesson learned, I should say. Today we have this Wilson-Davis document, and so much is put into this once again, and it reminds me of what we went through with MJ-12. Is the Wilson-Davis document something that we should, again, consider part of disclosure? Is it that big of a deal or not?
No. You know what that reminds me of a little bit? It's loosely reminds me of our friend Linda Moulton Howe's trip to Kirkland Air Force Base.
It does.
When she was brought onto the base under the, auspices of, they're going to give her some information, some contacts and their contact information, to look into the subject of, a UFO landing on a runway and literally like evaporating weapons out of, security hands and that sort of thing. And then she gets there, she goes to a room with a two-way glass, and she's, sort of informed that, you're not here to get this, you're here for this. And then they lay this manila folder in front of her, that has Project Garnet on it. And you're allowed to look at this. You can read it and review it and look it over. You can't take any notes. You can't take any photographs. You can't take any of it with you. She walks away from that with, the idea that the government has done a full and out investigation and research study on the subject of alien visitation. And the conclusion was that our DNA was tampered with thousands of years ago, and that essentially the Earth is populated with over 6 billion androids, and that we're all aliens, in effect. And they went after one of the best journalists at the time to corrupt her mind. They put truth in that folder, and they put a lot of lies in that folder. And what is going to happen? You know, you have an Emmy Award-winning multiple Peabody Award-winning journalist that took on the subject of UFOs and aliens and cattle mutilations is what she came into it. They never thought that she was someone like her and her credentials was going to get involved in this. And they knew that when she partnered up with HBO and she had that big checkbook, she was going to go do some damage, some kind of a way. They knew that what they were doing and the narrative that they were playing was going to be tampered with. Helicopters with lights on them to look like UFOs, cattle's being jerked up to the sky, and, you know, no blood and laser precision cuts, and, you know, rectums cored out and tongues gone and eyes gone, and, you know, the whole bit. Well, you know, for any scientist back then that was involved in government work, civilian or military, they all knew that when this all started, these cows were being jerked up into the air in places where there was nuclear fallout and nuclear winds, and that they wanted to look and see what was happening to the food chain. Could that be the narrative that they were playing? Was she infringing on that narrative? But they certainly pulled her in for some reason, and they showed her this folder that wasn't true. She doesn't believe today that it was true, and I don't believe it was true. But this whole thing about the Wilson document reminds me of that. It's like when we start to get a little closer to some little nugget of the truth, they come in and they throw a wrench in the game to sort of control the conversation again. And, you know, I want to believe that it was a legit document, Joe, that the whole thing was legit, because I love Richard Dolan with all my heart. I love Grant Cameron with all my heart. And these guys, they believe that it's the deal. You know what I mean? And they're smart, intelligent people. Richard Dolan's one of the smartest people I know, but I don't buy it. Do you, Jimmy?
It's tough for me. Race, I never go all in on anything. I've gone all in before, right? I've gone all in before. I just don't do that now. The only thing I go all in on are the things that I've seen with my two eyeballs.
Right.
I'm pretty confident with that. Right. I'm pretty confident, especially when I have witnesses around me and we can all discuss this together. Now, when it comes to the Wilson document, I look at this now and I truly believe, I think that the evidence is there, that Dr. Eric Davis wrote this document. The document is real. It's a real document. It's the contents of the document that we need to put into question. Okay? Did he actually write it? Did he distribute it? Did it go to Putoff? Did it go to Kit Green? Right? Did it go to the rest of the Bigelow, the Bass Group? Did everybody have access to it? All right? But it's the contents. I feel a little bit strange, and that's I don't know. And parts of it are real, right? Parts of it are documented fact, and then it's the other stuff around it. And then we have to step back and ask the questions. Why would a guy with a PhD who wants to be a physicist, who is a physicist, who's got a career going on, why would a guy for the last 20 plus years, always be at the center of the crazy town stuff? He's always at the center of the craziest stuff that you can think of. Warp drives, right? Skinwalker, alien autopsy films.
Bigfoot's coming out of portals.
Right. All of the crazy town stuff is Senate hearings. I just told the Senate we've got crash flying saucers. Right. Everybody that everything, all the crazy town stuff. It's Dr. Eric Davis. And it goes back to the point that I made earlier that you touched upon, is that this is all coming from a CIA narrative. This is coming from a Pentagon, this loose group of
Spook.
Yes. And if you're not questioning this, you have to. You have to. And that's where and I appreciate Richard Dolan. His research, second to none. There's no question about it. And when he was on this show a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about the document, and I gave him free reign. He answered all of my questions, and he gave his research out, and there it is. And if you want to go listen to the show, go listen to it, and you can hear Richard's perspective on it. And he knows my take. I'm not buying it. The document's real. Goes back to Linda and Richard Doty, right, at Kirkland, and the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, and Linda goes into that office. She's shown real documents. It's the contents of the documents that are not real, right?
Right.
And that's where I feel like we are at, MJ-12. Real documents, somebody typed them up. The documents themselves are real. It's what's in them. That's a whole different thing that we need to always constantly go back and get our feet back on the ground, right? And get centered again. And that's where I'm at with this. I've been through MJ-12, and so did Richard, and so many other researchers, where we have been down this road. Do you remember? This is what's crazy. Jamie Chanderay and Bill Moore and right, Stanton Friedman caught in the middle of all of this too as well, and the press conferences and the releases of the documents and the story, the letters, Falcon. Right, the avian, and go to this mailbox, and then go to this airport. And when you get to the airport, go here, and this whole cloak and dagger thing it seemed like the greatest UFO spy story ever in the history of anything, and I bought into it, man. I bought into it.
And I still love to this day hearing Grant Cameron tell that story. Nobody can tell it faster. Nobody. I mean, he can get the whole story out in about 20 minutes, and that's about a 2-hour conversation for me and you. But he can get it out there, man. He was unraveling that socket long time ago. And but yeah, I mean, it's I talked with Dr. Ward about the legitimacy of the documents ad nauseum.
Oh, Dr. Wood. Dr.
Wood, yes, excuse me. Yeah. And then with Stanton, you know what I mean, in his whole inclusion in all of this, and how he felt, jerked, and he felt like there was a lot of fact in it, though, and it's truths. It is those truths that are wound up inside these enigmas that really bend you. I mean, and it can break you. It can break you, man, if you let it. And, this whole stuff, like, again, going back to today, man, there was some real theatrics going on back in the day, man. Like, I have to say that a lot of it's just like it happens on a spindle, and every 3-4 years or so, we are given something to play with. But, it's starting to feel like me, those little merry-go-rounds that were in the playgrounds at school when we were little, I don't even think they have them anymore.
I nearly died every time I touched one of those.
It's like me and you and Richard Dolan and Linda Bolton Howe are all on it, and I'm across from you, and she's across from Richard. Linda's across from Richard, and then there's Eric Davis and Powell and and Green and all these cats that are pushing it. And we're all trying to hold a conversation while they're spinning this damn thing as fast as they can. And where are we going to get but sick to our stomach? In the end, when you try to follow those spooks, you're going to get sick. You're going to get sick, because when I thought that Tom DeLonge was going to use his influence to get involved in this and make something positive happen, and then WikiLeaks drops this bomb and releases all these names and everything. And then I thought it's all going to go away because all these people are now out in the open and he's not going to be able to do the work that he was doing. Or was he being jerked himself? Or was there elements, in the government? Because we know there are elements in the government that will leak classified stuff these days. I mean, it's just kind of an everyday thing anymore. But are there people that are going to leak the truth about, what's going on in the subject of alien visitation and UFOs? No, it didn't happen. And now I've come to learn, in my opinion, I've just come to learn that there are a lot of people out there trying to line the pockets of their labs and their research organizations with our tax dollars. And that's just the way that I feel about it. I feel that they tried to use Tom DeLonge's influence for crowdfunding and it didn't work. And so they've taken it the next step and, they've turned up the Harry Reid and the release of these videos and all this other stuff to get these hearings that they needed to get and the funding they needed to get, and they got it. And now they're all happy. And then the rest of the country get to chew on this unidentified series that really looks good to people that don't know any better. And even to people that do know better, it still looks good. So chase the tail we continue to do until, somebody comes along with a shovel and slaps us.
Yeah. Here we go again. And when the chatter started last month, and I was part of it. I was chattering along with everybody else and chatting this thing up about the impending articles that were about to come out on the New York Times. Well, your first reaction, because I want to talk about the retractions, but your first reaction when you read the article from Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal, what did you think? Was it the big breaking story? How did you feel about it?
I didn't. Honestly, I've had time to think back because I've been asked this before. I think you asked me this the last time I was on the show a couple of weeks ago. John Greenwald, whom I greatly respect. Great show, by the way, with him you had. I honestly look back and I wonder what all the hype was about. Why were they hyping this story if this is what we were going to get, right? That's what I remember thinking. That's what I remember off the top, just being very displeased and thinking it was very unremarkable.
The media around the world picked up on the story immediately. The United States government's got crash flying saucers, right? You got Harry Reid stating that, and you've got Dr. Eric Davis showing up once again stating this. And that's what the media ran with. And nobody did any fact checking. It's the New York Times. You don't need to fact check. New York Times already vetted all of these quotes and sources and things, and so the article's got to be legit. So they run with it, and it's everywhere, and it's shared and talked about and things. And then the next day, retractions from the same story. What did you make of that?
Well, I didn't really take a lot from it. I mean, it essentially said the same thing to me, because, you know, Jimmy, when you and I when we have a conversation off the record, you know, and we're talking off the record, and we have these conversations where we say things, you know, in a certain way, and then they go on the record with what we say. You know, I've had this happen before several times, been taken out of context, and just by one word. By one word can change the whole damn game, the whole thing. And I think that, you know, when Reed said in the article that he believed that crashed vehicles from other worlds had occurred and that sort of parts or whatever from them had been collected and studied for decades. When I read the part about aerospace companies, you know, often by aerospace companies or whatever, I'm thinking Bigelow, right? I was thinking about his old pal out there in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
And then the retraction comes, and nothing in that retraction really changed that. You know, the retraction was, he believed that crashes of objects of unknown origin may have occurred. I think it said. I remember them saying may have occurred. That's what he said. But you know, that part was sort of a big difference, but it didn't really change the quote, right? The man believes that crashes have happened and that parts of that stuff have been collected and studied. When you go back to the UFO Disclosure Project, there are brigadier generals who said that they were handed this material to look at. This is material from a UFO. Literally, we've got military officials, generals on the record, colonels on the record that have held this stuff in their hands, or they've seen it, or opened a file cabinet and seen it. Crates and seen it, guarded this stuff and seen it. So I tend to think that Reed honestly said that, and that he meant that, and he still means it, but it's not the spooky sort of narrative that one can derive from it. And walking this wording and this verbiage sort of back by the New York Times, I think, could very well just be a small mistake made by the writers, and it was just a very large correction that they intended to make, but really didn't amount a whole lot. It didn't amount a whole lot to me, I should say.
Well, it doesn't matter once the rest of the media around the world picks up on the story with the headlines that the United States government is in possession of vehicles from off-world UFOs that have crashed. That's the headline that they ran with.
But that's not what he said.
That's right.
That's not what they wrote initially, and it's not what was in the redaction.
Right. And that's how you get disinformation out into the public. And that's it. And once the headlines are out there, then it becomes fact. That's it. It becomes fact. You know, Harry Reid, you know, the retraction was that Harry Reid didn't say crashes of vehicles from other worlds had occurred. But the retraction is crashes of objects, not vehicles, right? Crashes of objects of unknown origin may have occurred.
Yes, it may. I remembered that part.
It's 180 degrees in the other direction. You know, and there you go. So let's take our break right here, Race. We got to get this in. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, it is Host to Host with Race Hobbs. All UFOs all night long, except for the gaming that we talked about earlier. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to getthetea.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's getthetea.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend. Let's face it, you've always wanted to do a sky watch and see your first UFO. Today, it's easy. Just get your own HP7 3B Cobalt Jimmy Church Edition night vision goggles from Hoffman's Optics. This is the same U.S. military system that I use, featuring a Generation 3 blue phosphor image tube. That's right, it's blue, not black and green. This is the only blue system in the world, and it's waterproof, lightweight, combat-proof, simple to use, and ready to go. Hoffman's Optics helped create night vision sky watches, and now you can see what everyone has been talking about each night from your own backyard. Just call 760-231-9929. That's 760-231-9929. You can click on the banners on our site or visit UFOnightvisiongoggles.com. That's UFOnightvisiongoggles.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go back, Lee Tappy.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Race Hobbs, host to host. One day I'm going to grow up and have pipes like Race Hobbs. That's my goal. And continuing on with this conversation, going back to the old days and how this is now resurfacing too as well because of the Wilson Davis document and the 2 extra pages that followed this, which is the alien autopsy film.
And again, to all of the people out there that are new to the UFO community, that didn't go through what the UFO community went through with the alien autopsy film, that thing was huge. Huge. Broadcasts around the world, live videotapes. I bought that thing for like $70, Tower Records, whatever I paid for it on pre-order. Had a party at my house, Race. Had a party at my house. Got the video, invited my friends over, pizza, and we all said, yeah, we did, man. We did, and we watched it. And as we're getting through, I was looking around, and everybody in the room was thinking the same thing. This is bogus, right? This thing ain't real. And you've got Stan Winston on the screen going, well, I don't know how they would have done that. And, the most respected special effects guy in Hollywood and everything else that was centered around that. And now it's resurfacing again. And we've got the same group of people involved in this conversation about the alien autopsy film, about it being real. And let's start at the beginning here. When you first saw the alien autopsy film, what went through your mind?
I thought it was real.
You did not.
You know me better. Honestly, I watched this thing like 40 times. Up close, rewind, slow-mo, frame by frame. I'm going and checking the clock, the model of the clock on the wall, the surgical utensils they were using, the trays, the sort of the scrubs that they had on, that kind of thing. I took screenshots of all of this stuff and sort of started to research, if all of this was authentic, and it all was. And I'm like, wait a minute, this can't be, this is just can't be that well made. But I don't like how it was shot. And I started thinking about, a little bit about the funeral home guy, I forget his name now, in Roswell, how he talked about being on the base and how it was chaotic, and how his friend, the nurse, came, storming out of the place, and my God, what are you doing here? You got to get out of here, and blah, 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 and yada, 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 and that whole thing. And, I started thinking, well, maybe it was shot that way because it was a chaotic situation. But then I started thinking, no, they're not going to be performing a freaking autopsy in that chaotic situation. It's not going to, so all of this happened within just a few moments, but it seemed like it took a long time. It seemed like it took a while. But I thought at first, initially, whenever I started to find that the clock was authentic in the time frame and and these sort of things, I started to think, this is either a well-made hoax or it's real. And but of course, all of us know now that it wasn't real, that those that made it came forward, told how it was made and why they made it, and those involved and the whole thing. So yeah. Now, I'm sorry that took for $70 though. You'll never get that 70 back.
Man, I was so upset. And,
that's like a Blair Witch thing. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was real at first.
I'm going to be straight with you, Race. I had a cabinet in my living room full of videotapes, right? That everybody had, right? And after I watched it that first night, I went back and maybe watched it a couple of times that week. That thing hit the shelf and was never watched again. And I would go through, and every time I would go through my videos and pick something out and I would see that, I would get angry. I would get angry when I looked at that box. I got played, man. And here we are in 2020, talking about the authenticity of the alien autopsy film and the fact that Kit Green and his circle were actually talking about this film being authentic. We're in 2020 discussing the alien autopsy film. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. I have no clue how this community can circle back and start this discussion again about the alien autopsy film, a hoaxed film made for profit, right? And what's going on, Race?
Let's get Kit Green on here and find out exactly what was said.
Well,
I think, he talks to Richard Dolan, but he doesn't talk to really nobody else on the record.
No, he ain't. That whole crew would never come on this show.
Yeah, let's get old Hal on here. Russell Targ does interviews.
Yeah. And
he'll come out here and tell you, hey, yeah, you know what I mean? But why won't they?
Well,
Spookville.
Well, when
the payroll, and they know it, and they can't afford to make a mistake on the record because it could end multi-million-dollar contracts for them. It could void, the kind of money that it takes to live high on the hill. You know what I mean? And they don't want to go that route.
Why is it, Race, that, when somebody like Dr. Eric Davis, his employer is named Aerospace Corporation in this New York Times article, where he is quoted as saying he gave briefings twice to the Senate telling them that we had crashed flying saucers. Why isn't every journalist on this planet going after Eric to expand on these quotes and to bring forward the proof to back up these statements? Why does he get a hall pass right now?
Well, let's go back to the article about Senator Reid that was in the New York Magazine. In that article, he admitted that he had never been briefed. Oh, he got the $22 million for ATIP. He got the $22 million for this, this group to go out and research UFOs, but he never got briefed. I mean, his response was, it's not my style to kind of hover over these people. You know what I mean? I just get them the money and then let them go. It's just Jimmy's tax bill for the next 50 years.
But why does Eric Davis get a hall pass?
I just think that he gets a hall pass because he's a part of the narrative, controlling the narrative. He's a part of that group. He's a part of that whole, and has been. Now, these are brilliant people, and they do brilliant work, I'm certain. And this is just my opinion, of course, but I just feel like he's a part of that group that just, in this time, is controlling the narrative. And, I keep hearing about, Kit Green. I keep hearing his name, and I keep hearing Hal Puthal's name, but we never see him. We never hear from him. They never go on the record, and they're never willing to be questioned by media out in the light of day. And Eric Davis, even very few interviews has he ever been a part of. I think he was in Mirage Man. That was the last time I think I've ever seen him on the record with anything. But even that is just a recorded thing and not live, so I don't know why he gets a hall pass other than he's a part of that counterintelligence group that does what they do to control the narrative to all of us.
Do you think that we will see additional videos out of the Pentagon, or is that door closed?
No, I think they're coming. I think there's more coming. I remember back when I did my own radio show. Well, when I did Eyewitness Radio and MUFON Radio for the Mutual UFO Network, I talked with, Poseidon pilots and, many Navy pilots that told me on and off the record about these tapes, about these videos. You know what I want to see? I want to see the video that astronaut Gordon Cooper's team took on the dry lake bed out there when they were testing catapults on the runway. I believe what he said was true. An American hero, full and out. You know, he was a part of Lee Spiegel's crew that went before the United Nations with Valet and many others. I think Gordon Cooper was telling the truth. He, you know, when he was asked, you know, why didn't you check on this tape, where it went, what's going on with it? And he just simply look at you and say, who do you ask? Who are you going to ask? When I talk to a naval submarine commander about fast movers and about, you know, literally hearing that, you know, there are objects that, you know, they're moving faster underwater than we ever thought possible, let's just say. When they report this up the chain of command, that's a one-way doorway that it goes through. It doesn't come back down the chain of command and to let everybody know what they saw or what they recorded on radar. You know, you're in a metal tube, you know, 1,000 leagues under the sea, and something blows by you like you're in reverse, and you didn't know that anything could go that fast underwater, but yet you tell your superiors about it and they don't tell you anything back. That's just the way that it works. That's how that works. It all goes somewhere and it's all collected somewhere. Sergeant Salter, he worked for the NRO. He's in the Disclosure Project. Listen to his testimony about where all that stuff goes. I think that there's a central collection agency for all of this information, and they disperse it where they want it dispersed to whom they want it dispersed. Even if that means, Jimmy, in my opinion, that they give this stuff to brigadier generals to hold in their hand and to look at and to show, you know, a couple of their close friends or whatever, so that there's a record of that in happening at some point in time. You know, then you have people of a credible nature saying, I've held it in my hands and this stuff was from another world. Here we are again in 2020 talking about metals that are supposedly from UFOs, from UAPs, from intelligently controlled off-world vehicles that couldn't have been manufactured here on Earth are in our hands again.
And that is, for me, that is different than crashed flying saucers, right? Off-world vehicles, not melted, you know, droplets of something that we're trying to figure out what the composition is. That's another subject altogether. A crashed off-world vehicle states something is complete. Right. We don't need to analyze the seat or the dashboard. We know that's off planet. It's another thing altogether to imply, you know, melted or, you know, some debris that's unidentifiable.
Sparks that flew off.
Right. That's something else altogether. And when we look at the three videos, and this is what I find so interesting, is that the videos show something. It's like the Wilson Davis documents. Documents are real. It's the composition, what's inside of it, that is of interest. The videos are real videos. No question about it. There's something in those videos. There you have it. But the Pentagon doesn't care. Right? The Pentagon does not care about the content of those videos. When Susan Gao made this statement, and I'm going to quote her, this is word for word. She said, quote, "After further review, the department has determined that the authorized release of these unclassified videos does not reveal any sensitive capabilities or systems, end quote. Now, I would think, Race, I might be dumb, but I would think that an alien ship caught on video does show sensitive capabilities and systems, right? I could be wrong. I could be way off base. Maybe the UFOs from another planetary system flying here, interstellar, isn't sensitive, and it's not that big of a deal.
I remember seeing one of these videos a long time ago.
Yeah.
But you know, the first thing I noticed was that the numbers and the letters were blurry. Those things were you know, it was obvious that this whole thing was blurred out for some reason, and that's what makes me suspicious. I said to some researcher friends of mine early on in the release of this is that I think this just might be a clever way for our military industrial complex to give our adversaries out there a little glimpse of what we really have. That's ours. And that, you know, this stuff is readily available and deployable now. And what they've been seeing over their installations is very well probably what we have in our possession now. It's a very clever way to let the UFO community and the media express this, let's say, in a very subtle way to our enemies and adversaries out there. And I just couldn't see, you know, I was told, you know, ways and means, they blur it out because they don't want you to see our technology, what we get. There's nothing to see. I've seen shit on Top Gun that looked better than that.
Well,
movie. Like, you know, any radio intercept officer that looks at a video like that, or any fighter pilot that looks at a video like that, is going to see. We all have seen that is not like super secure type stuff. I mean, they could take all of that data stuff out of it and just give us the real clear shot of the UFO, which we know they have. Look at what Fravor said, you know, and what they filmed, what they saw, and how they filmed it.
Well, you bring up a good point. The 3 videos, Gimbal, Go Fast, and Tic Tac, those aren't what Fravor. Fravor has no connection to those videos.
Nope, none.
But they want to imply, right? You know, and they show the videos, and they'll immediately cut to Fravor in his interview, and there's your disinformation. The status quo out there watching these programs, and Fox and CNN and what have you, are thinking that what's in here from Power of Suggestion are UFOs, ET, off-planet, caught on camera, and Fravor is there telling about his experiences, and that these are the videos, and that's what he's describing.
Right. And, you know, I think that there's a shit ton of these videos that are very clear and very revealing. And I'm not so sure. I'm certain that we're going to see more, but I'm not so sure we're going to see stuff that clear and that revealing.
Do you think that Vladimir Putin is watching these videos and freaking out and is scared? No.
No, I don't think there's anything really that scares that guy. He's right. I think he kind of got his ducks in a row.
Yeah, which is my point. You know, they're not. I feel that this quote from the Pentagon is on point. The videos do not reveal any sensitive capabilities or systems. That's it. The Pentagon does not care about these videos. Allowing us to chatter about them takes the eye off the prize for the Pentagon. Right? They can do whatever they want to do as long as we're out here and the New York Times and Tucker Carlson is talking about these videos.
That's right.
They get the hall pass.
And there's your answer, Mr. Pixley, right there. He's what makes you think that we're going to see more videos, and that's exactly what makes me think that we're going to see more, and they're going to release some more, because they saw how effective it has been,
right?
For them and with all of us.
There was another statement, Race. By the way, you're going to stay over for overtime. So if you think that you're going to get out of this right now after the break, you're not. So stay comfortable. But there's another interesting thing for the Pentagon to come out and say we don't have any longer versions of these videos. There's nothing else to see.
Bullshit.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, guys.
Man, you're in Bleep Central now, Race. Remember, this is a family program.
I'm not going to get my pony.
Yeah, you're not going to get a pony for sure. A big shout out to Gene Vito, by the way. He's out of the hospital, and OG Fadernaut. I know he's listening right now, Gene, and I'm glad that you're on the mend. But what is in front of and after these short clips could reveal everything and just sink this book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're not going to release that. And for them to say that they don't have longer videos, I think that is a very strong untruth. Right there, they're not being straight with us.
No, and I just don't think there's any walking that back, and that kind of thing is what, when they're so swift to redact a simple comment by a former Senate, one of the funniest things you'll ever hear is Senate Intelligence Committee. For me, I had to throw that in there, Jimmy.
Yeah.
But once you hear the head of Senate Intelligence Committee had to be redacted the next day, had to be retracted. I'm sorry, not redacted, but retracted. The next day, yeah, it's self-explanatory, I think.
Let's take our break right here. Race, you stay right there. We've got lots more to talk about. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, tonight, host to host with Race Hobbs. Race, are you having a great time?
The greatest.
The best. Race Hobbs. Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. We'll be right back. More with Race overtime after this short break. Stay with us.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Come join us for the Starworks UFOs and Artificial Intelligence Conference, November 6th through the 8th at the Aquarius Resort in Laughlin, Nevada. A full weekend of events with Grant Cameron, James Fox, Alan Stivelman, Sid Goldberg, Jaime Maussan, Lynn Katai, Paul Hynek, and another dozen great speakers and presenters. Special Fade to Black Sky Watches with Hoffman's Optics on Thursday and Friday nights, movie premieres, a cocktail party, a dinner gala. Get your discount ticket packages today at StarWorksUSA.com. I'll be there along with the entire Fade to Black crew. Start planning your weekend now for the Starworks UFOs and Artificial Intelligence Conference, November 6th through the 8th at the Aquarius Resort in Laughlin, Nevada. Just visit StarWorksUSA.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, host to host, Race Hobbs. Doing some overtime. So much to talk about tonight. I knew we'd run out of time. We don't get a chance to sit down with you, Race, and just open it up, man, and let her rip.
It's always, I remember when I first went on live radio with talk radio, Jimmy, I thought it was going to take ever to go through 2 hours, forever. And it goes by so fast, especially when we're talking about stuff that we're truly passionate about and that we're so involved in. And it's always a great honor and a great pleasure to be on this show with you and to be hanging out with all of the Fadernauts. It's just it's a true honor.
Well, let's talk. You brought up Senate intelligence, right? And let's actually discuss this, and we'll close out the show because here we've got this this defense budget that is needs to go through every year and get passed. That there is inside of the defense budget this time around a section in there to fund pressure of getting information out of, and I think specifically they keep saying the Navy. I don't know why they don't mention the Air Force or the Marines or the Army, but getting information out of them. But the disinformation side of this, for me, Race, seems to be that there are people out there, without naming names, that want the world to think that this is about UFOs, about ET,
off-planet intelligent civilizations. They want us to believe that. Is it that, or does the Senate even know what they want to know about UAPs, right? Is it they want to know about Russia and what their technology is, or China and what their technology is? You know, what's your feeling here? What is it that the Senate Intelligence Committee wants out of the Pentagon?
You know, that one is tough for a little simple-minded fellow like myself. I know that there's a lot of money that exchange hands with these cats, but Jimmy, I don't think that this is going to go anywhere for 1 second. Not for 1 second. You've got a Senate Intelligence Committee that voted to require the Defense Department to completely release everything that it has and knows about UFOs and UAPs. And I am almost willing to bet the mortgage that we don't get squat. And I don't know why that I don't have an opinion one way or another, Jimmy, on this one. This one is just one that's beyond me to pile on. I just can't. What do you think? I mean, this is host to host. Let me ask you the question. What do you think? Because I can't come up with a reason why they would even play that mess.
I don't think there is one member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, not one, not even Marco Rubio, not one, that thinks that it has anything to do with ET, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, interstellar ET. No. They would not put that verbiage in. They don't know. No, it's not part. What they are passing is to find out what the Navy and the Pentagon knows about advanced aircraft out of China, Israel, Brazil, Germany, Russia, any other air force in the world. It has nothing to do with little green men. That's my take. And there isn't a senator, there is no way. I mean, if you went up and questioned them and said, hey, okay, so you guys want to know about little green men and UFOs and what the Pentagon knows? They're going to look at you like you're crazy, because that's not their discussions. That's not what they're talking about. That's my take.
Well, I could probably see that. It's still going to be something we're never going to see in the light of day. I honestly don't think, and I love their candor, but I honestly don't think that even at the end of the day, and you're probably right, Jimmy. Let me go back. You're probably 100% right. These sort of salt of the earth folks that never have really, been confronted with any of this stuff probably think that it's Chinese, probably think that it's Russian, and that none of this has anything to do with real off-world technology or off-world life or alien life. But, at the end of the day, it's all about money, isn't it?
I know,
it's all about the money. And I keep going back. I hate to keep going back to that, but I just keep seeing these cats all trying to line their pockets for their own reasons. And I don't see a track to jump off on to take me in any other direction other than that right now. They're all, having Senate hearings, secret, behind closed doors hearings about this and about because look, there are real dangers here. There are real physical objects of intelligent control up there moving around, and they come dangerously close. Record after record after record of them coming very, very close to passenger airliners and military, and that. If one collides with it, then what have we got? and it just really, really, really harkens back to a financial reward for those who can convince politicians that this needs to be done. And when it needs to be done, who's watching them and who's watching the watchers? It all kind of goes away again. And I like Rubio. I think he's all right. I think he can be very foolish. And I think that this is just one of those times where he's, I think he's on the outside looking in and he doesn't know what he's looking at.
Well, my position is very clear. I want to be wrong. That's it, Race. I just want to be wrong. A year from now, 2 years from now, I want everybody out there to call me out when I'm just completely proven wrong, and I will eat crow. I have no problems with wearing TTSA pajamas on the air. I will do that. I will do that. I will do that. And I've made that commitment. And you know why, Race? Because that's going to be a great day. That's going to be a great day. If I've got to eat crow and I'm proven wrong and a disclosure is suddenly exploding out of the Pentagon and the truth and the revelations are now public, that's the day to party. And if I've got to be proven wrong and go, you know what, that's going to be a great day. So have at me. I want to be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're going to be wrong about something, that's a good one to be wrong about. But I'm just of the opinion that I'm one of these ones that I don't have to be convinced. All these people that have jumped all over this retraction and how, it's just the next thing, man. It's just when you've lived through, 2 or 3 dozen of these things in this subject, the conversation's getting real thin out here. The air is getting real thin out here. And I'm still waiting. I'm waiting on whatever the next big thing is that's going to happen. It's going to drop and it's really going to suck the air right out of the room. So everybody should, I think, this pandemic and the election, let's ride this out and see this through, get it behind us. And then we can look for the next big whatever, because it's going to be coming. It's going to be due. 2017, dude, was 3 years ago. And it was a jaw-dropping moment for a lot of people. This subject was on Tucker Carlson, on CNN, like major network news. And, for the huge lack of respect that I've had for all the major networks for a long time now, they're truly not news networks, not Fox, not CNN, not MSNBC. They're not real news. They're opinion pieces all the time. It's just digging up fossils from wherever and throwing them on TV to spit their party line or whatever. They're all politically driven now, and it's just ridiculous. I thought it would go away after the last election. I thought this is all because of the election. No, they just kept right on riding with it all the way through till now. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's what's going to happen with this subject. It's going to come and be a part of the conversation all the time in the mainstream, which, it takes me back to, the days where all of our conversations centered around, this truth is too big to honestly be believed by everybody. So the lie is going to perpetuate itself and the truth is going to be wrapped up in it. And when we're all talking about it like it's real, and then no one's going to care if we actually see one. We're all just going to say we know it's real and that's good enough. And, that'll probably be like, the chocolate on the pillow for us.
Yeah, we're already at that point, I think, Race, where I think it's been very effective. I mean, I've got friends and family out there that have nothing to do with the UFO community or subject or anything like that. But when this subject comes up and they see it on the news, the response is, I mean, of course we're not alone. What do you think? Look how big the universe is. Of course we're not alone. And where it has been effective, certainly. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. I've never asked you this question, ever. Mm-hmm. What is the case for you? What is the one UFO event that you carry with you? What's the one?
The Travis Walton case.
Yeah, me too.
That's it.
Yeah.
November 1974, 7 guys of, that some of them loved each other dearly and some of them, couldn't care less for the others. All different ages. They all saw something and they were all witness to an event, and they've all kept the same story for over 40 years or something. That can't happen. There's the lie detector tests. What Travis says doesn't matter. It's what they've all said. It's how they've all said it. Even Stephen Pierce, the youngest one involved. This guy was a trucker, admittedly had a drug problem at times in his life, very poor, broke at times in his life, down on his luck at times in his life, had been offered thousands and thousands of dollars to come forward and say this didn't happen. He admitted that he considered it and wanted to take the money and almost did take the money to have his girlfriend talk him out of it. Just for morality's sake, you don't want to live the rest of your life looking over your shoulder because you lied. They've all maintained that this really happened the way that it happened. And I just don't think that part of human experience can be faked. It just can't. It can't. When you've got 7 people, some of them that don't even like each other, with nothing to lose, and they still won't come out and say they faked it or it was a lie or it was all a setup. I just can't find my way to believe anything other than what happened. And, what Travis says happened on the ship, and all of that is all on his own. It has nothing to do with the rest of them. They were at home facing murder indictments because in Arizona, you didn't have to have a body to go to prison for murder. And so these guys were up against it, man, big time. And they all stuck together from there to this very day. So that's my case. And I do thank Travis Walton for respectively representing that case the best way he could all these years and coming forward and telling us all what happened all these years, because he didn't have to do it. And Mike Rogers, the crew boss, he does his show on KGRA, The Realist, and I've talked with him at length about the case. And, he says it happened exactly the way that he's always said and the way that Travis said. And those 2 accounts, the one of the guy who got took and the guy that was left behind, it's just so powerful.
I went and watched a couple of weeks ago for like the 5th time, Travis, right? The new documentary. And what is so great about that documentary, I know that you have seen it, but these are
you talking about Jennifer Stein?
Yeah, it's Jennifer Stein, man. And and you go and you watch that, and hats off to Jennifer. I mean, I've congratulated her on pulling that off so many times. But to get everybody in a modern context today, finally together to discuss all of this, and you watch that documentary, just watch it, because it's exactly what you are saying, Race. These guys just have an experience, right? That's it. And they are telling everybody exactly how it happened. Buy it if you want it. Buy it if you don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change our story. And this is the way it went down. So I'm with you. I think Travis is at the top of the list for me. And number 2, I keep going back to, and I think about this, and I'll tell you why. I'm going Rendlesham as my number 2. And the reason for that is it's the same reasons for Travis. We have a group of guys that are still with us. They can talk about it, right? This isn't Roswell, right? This isn't the Texas flying machine of 1890, right? This is a modern event where all of the witnesses are still here with documentation and everything else. We got the audio tapes and things out of Rendlesham. And these are those are my 2. Travis is my number 1. Rendlesham number 2. What do you think?
My number 2 is Pascagoula.
I know.
But you're right about the Rendlesham case, 100%. One of the guys, John Burroughs, a very dear brother and friend to me, is probably one of my biggest confidants in the subject of UFOs, because this is a guy that has never diverted from the Rendlesham case. He's always admittedly wanted to know what happened to him and his fellow airmen, and what happened to them and happened to him. He's never sensationalized the case. He's never gone off and done this or that way or this or that way. It's always been, a matter of fact, I think he's one of the only ones that's never changed his story. Jim Peniston's been caught lying. Colonel Halt's been caught lying. Of course, Larry Warren, that guy just completely tanked and been a liar. But, John Burroughs, Adrian Cabanza, these guys have all stuck to their story, all said it the same. They've all been very consistent. Code name Cookie, we call her Cookie. Her story was the same. I don't want to put her name out there, but she was on with us, Linda and John, and Phenomenon Radio, and what a compelling aspect she added to the whole thing. But aside from some of the contradictions and some of the statements that have been changed, things that shouldn't have been said, for whatever reason, Colonel Halt didn't tell the truth about John being there. Then we heard him on his tape, Then he had to admit, well, yes, he was. And then several other things since then. For whatever reason, I think he had a reason to I think he was trying to protect his guys. I think he's had reasons for why he's doing what he's doing. I think that Colonel Halt's a good man. I don't, and I think that Jim Peniston's a good man, but I just don't, it may be just what Colonel Halt said, that they were messed with drugs and interrogation, and Colonel Halt knows about that. He dealt with it in Vietnam, and he was a combat controller in Vietnam, and he knows about that stuff. So he very well may have been telling us all then the truth about that, and even with John. But I think the Rendlesham case is exactly what you said it was, Jimmy. They're here. This is not an old case where, the Roswell case, everybody's come and gone. And, like Stanton said about it, it's a race with the Undertaker, to try to find these people.
Right.
They're all here, and they're all now. And it's a damn shame that all of those guys, I wish Colonel Halt, being their commander back then, and their leader, would get them all together and get on the record with it in a hurry, because we are running out of time.
Yeah, same thing with Calvin Parker and Pascagoula, because Calvin, coming on this program and some of the other programs that he has been on recently, he's still with us. And that is to hear him again, he's never shifted from his story, but it's the way that he tells about his experience. And I believe that is concrete. And then, of course, we have, I guess if we're going to round this out, I got to go with Lonnie Zamora, Socorro. That's a pretty strong case, too.
What do you think about Chris Bledsoe's case in North Carolina?
I think Chris Bledsoe is just like the rest of us right now. Chris Bledsoe is experiencing the same thing that I have been experiencing and others when we go out and do sky watches and we are able to see things. Chris is witnessing that. Now, this is on his property, and it's gone to another level, certainly for sure. But I think Chris Bledsoe represents a huge part of this UFO community right now. When I interview Chris, I feel like I'm just like interviewing myself because we have, I've gone out, Race, you've heard me talk about this so many times, but I've gone out with, dozens, if not hundreds of people and have seen the most incredible things that we cannot explain. And Chris is out there experiencing this stuff in his backyard, direct contact, and his son and family, neighbor, right? Everybody's involved with this, and that's what I think is going on with Chris. I think he represents all of us right now, and it's exciting for him, exciting for us to hear him recount what he is witnessing and continues to experience out there.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and some of my good friends investigated his case, very, very thoroughly, and of course I did as well. I sat down with Chris and talked with him on the phone, on interviews, and off the air as well, and there were things that he said in the beginning, and then there were things that he said and divulged much later, because he was having marital problems, he was having mental issues and trying to hold it all together. And I couldn't figure out why that was based on what was in the initial story. But when he tells you the additional parts that you didn't know about in the beginning, then it all starts to kind of come into focus. And I love Chris Bledsoe with all my heart, and I truly pray that he finds the answers he's looking for, because I think that he has been experiencing, some truly bizarre things that can be, they can be soul shaking. Yeah. And to put it lightly. But I tell you, Calvin Parker is an authentic gentleman. And he's got a lot of other information that has come to light over the years to back up his claim.
That's right.
There were other people that witnessed this stuff from across the river and around. So it's an authentic case. And I think he's a very authentic witness and experiencer. And I'm thankful for him coming forward.
He's a down dude, man. He is cool.
Yeah.
He is so cool.
Salty earth fella. Yeah.
Absolutely. Race Hobbs, you're the best, man. Thank you so much. Pole to pole tonight. You got your feet wet again.
I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun, and it's always a pleasure to be on your show, Jimmy. You're the greatest.
Race Hobbs. I didn't even get a chance to say what's new over at KGRA. You know what? Everybody go to KGRA.com. Everything you need is right there. Race Hobbs, continue rolling that rock uphill. Thank you so much.
You got it, brother. You do the same.
Race Hobbs. We didn't even talk about Cracker Barrel tonight. Can you believe it? Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camurian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2020 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. That cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, right here, Dr. Christopher Macklin. Until then, I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.